I was guided into a small, strongly lit room to wait for the doctor to arrive. I waited a long time, lying back in a chair that rightly belonged in a dentist's surgery. I leant back and saw a dark panel in the ceiling above me. They were watching too. Just then a lady with thick wavy hair and thick glasses came into the room. "Are you hungry?" "Yes, I'm very hungry," I said. She disappeared out the door and then came back with a muffin on a plate. "I can't eat this," I said sadly. She waited, looking at me. "It's not in a sealed packet," I explained. "Oh." She took the plate as if a little annoyed at my ingratitude and quietly left the room holding the plate of muffin. I knew how it sounded, but I had to be careful. She could be part of it. They may have contacted her by now and I was alone here. After a while she returned along with another man, who I guessed was a nurse. I explained my story. They asked a few questions and started taking notes while I spoke. Where do all these notes go, I thought. They led me up to a locked section of the floor. Inside, the nurse led me to a small room just big enough for a bed and a bedside table and a fixed window cut high up into the wall. Above the door was a camera behind glass. A combined shower and toilet was off to one side. I crawled up onto the bed and turned away from the door, staring at the wall. A few hours later a male doctor came in with a clipboard. He asked more questions and then jabbed a few needles in my arm. He left and I slept. When I woke, the window high above me was dark, the room dimly lit. As if by magic, the male nurse came into the room a few moments later to deliver a meal. "How are you?" he asked. "Fine," I said. Maybe I could stay here permanently. I wondered about the cost. There was a small chest of drawers beside me and I opened the top drawer. Inside was a Bible. I flicked through it, reading lines here and there, then put it back in the drawer and pushed it shut. That afternoon, I walked up to the nurse's station and asked about doing laundry. The nurse showed me where to leave my clothes and explained how it worked. I thanked him and turned to leave, but as I walked away I heard him saying to another nurse, "Yeah, she seems fine until you hear what she has to say." I picked out a 500-piece puzzle from the games shelf and returned to my room. It was a farm scene. I sat down and pushed the pieces together and under the watchful eye of the camera. On the third day, I ventured into the main living room and sat down on a large U-shaped lounge in front of the television with 3 others. It was a talk show. 2 guests were arguing as the host struggled to keep them calm. The guy sitting beside me had his head turned to me and was staring. "Hi," he said finally. "Hi," I said, without looking at him. He told me his name and I gave him mine. He picked up a magazine with a movie star on the front. "You look like her," he waved it in front of my face. I smiled at him, trying to ignore the magazine. He was inside for a drink driving case, said he'd got off on mental disability, but had to spend a few days inside as part of the ruling. I nodded. He introduced me to the others on the couch. One girl turned to me casually without expression, then turned back to the TV. The other girl didn't even bother responding. Later that day a young man was admitted. For a moment it looked like Ken in disguise and I dismissed the idea. Had to let the drugs do their work, I thought.